You are listening to a special audio series, Netaji, the birth of Indian independence, on your very own ACE FM, with me, R.J. Mini, and the writer of the story, Manoj Swami. Now let's continue the story of the greatest warrior of India's independence struggle, whose tale of bravery and foresight will be echoed in the history of Hindustan for centuries to come. In the previous episode, young Subhash saw his mother confront Inspector Dalton. He realized that if intentions are right, the resolve is firm. And when there is no fear in the heart, no matter how powerful the enemy may be, they have to take a step back. On the same night, his uncle also mentioned the name of ranilaxmibai of Jhansi, which appealed to the inquisitive nature of Subhash instantly. As soon as the police team left, Subhash started persuading his uncle to disclose more information about the intriguing ranilaxmibai, whose name was sufficient for them to retreat. At that point, his uncle recited a famous poem in the saga of bravery and valor of Rani Lakshmibai, which also mentioned the fight for India's independence in 1857. Since we started listening to this audio series inspired by Netaji's biography, we have known how fearless, curious, and determined he was from a young age. He was someone who believed in the fight for the independence of 1857 without even knowing about it. So let's now listen to the conversation between uncle and nephew and continue with the story in the next episode titled 1857 Inspiration of the Little Revolutionaries. Subhash asked his uncle, "What happened in the Battle of 1857, Robbie uncle? Tell me the whole story of Rani Lakshmibai." "This is a very long story, nephew. It will take a lot of days to hear about it. Let's first go downstairs and eat. Otherwise, your mother will really be mad at me." Laughing, they both head downstairs, only after Robin Datta promised Subhash to tell the entire story over the next few days. Over the next 4 days, as they talked about the first fight for independence of India in 1857, Subhash and his uncle spent the whole time together. This was the best Durga Puja holiday that Subhash had spent at his maternal grandfather's home ever. He even collected pictures of the heroes of that fight for independence with the help of his uncle, which he used to hide in his books. After these holidays, Subhash often dreamt of the revolt of 1857. The poem narrated by his uncle, which explained the story of the first revolution of India with Rani Lakshmibai and other brave warriors, kept echoing in his ears all the time.
इस स्वतंत्रता महायज्ञ में कई वीरवर आए काम, नाना धुदुपतातिया चतुर अजीमुल्ला सरनाम, अहमद शाह मौलवी, ठाकुर कुंवर सिंह सैनिक अभिराम, भारत की इतिहास गगन में अमर रहेंगे जिनके नाम। लेकिन आज जुर्म कहलाती उनकी जो कुर्बानी थी, लेकिन आज जुर्म कहलाती उनकी जो कुर्बानी थी। बुंदेले हर बोलो के मुंह हमने सुनी कहानी थी, खूब लड़ी मर्दानी वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी, खूब लड़ी मर्दानी वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी।
However, in his dreams, whenever the context of Rani Lakshmibai fighting in the battle with the British soldier arose, he would see the face of his mother as Rani Lakshmibai and saw himself as an infant tied to his mother's back on a horse during the fierce sword fight in the battle that took place. It was found in Inspector Dalton's investigation that Sharat was innocent, and subsequently Subhash's family returned to Cuttack a few days later. Sharat stayed back and resumed his studies in Calcutta. Now equipped with the information about the activities of the revolutionaries in the First Indian War of Independence in 1857, Subhash's character underwent a significant change. Earlier, he used to go to his Ravenshaw Collegiate School in the school uniform of his previous convent, whereas here most of the students came to school in Indian traditional attire. Subhash had no knowledge of Bengali and Sanskrit language because all his life he had studied only in English and Latin at the convent school. Due to this, other students used to keep their distance from him. The school teachers also maintained some distance from him for the very same reason. Subhash now adorned the Bengali traditional attire of dhoti and kurta while going to school. Both the teachers and the students of Ravenshaw Collegiate School were quite pleased with this change. He requested his Sanskrit language teacher to teach him Sanskrit, but his request was not taken seriously by him, as he was yet to accept the fact that Subhash had really turned traditional. However, Subhash, with his hard work and sharp intellect, managed to score 100 out of 100 in the next Sanskrit exam, surprising everyone. Overnight, the behavior of all the teachers and students who were apprehensive of this dramatic change in Subhash automatically changed their attitude towards him. Everyone now started meeting him without hesitation. The school headmaster, Benny Madhav, already liked him a lot because of his elder brother Sharat. With this change in the attitude of everyone towards him in school, Subhash was very happy. Soon Subhash became very popular among his classmates because he used to keep telling them stories of 1857 rebellion. During his time spent in Calcutta, Subhash had heard many stories of the ongoing new revolution in Bengal, and he used to share them with his classmates as well. You can say that he almost formed a group of Little Revolutionaries in his school and became its leader. Jankinath was not happy with his development, but his mother, Prabhavati Devi, liked this change in Subhash. One day after school got over, Subhash went for a stroll with his group of young revolutionaries to the bank of the river Mahanadi that flowed by the site of Cuttack. It was almost sunset and the weather was very pleasant. Everyone was very happy. Subhash told his friends, "Isn't the bank of Mahanadi so beautiful?" One of his friends replied, "Yes, it is really beautiful." Subhash then asked his friends, "Does anyone know where this river originates from?" One of his friends replied, "From central India." Subhash further asked, "After flowing through Greater Bengal, which sea does it enter into?" Again someone answered, "It meets the Bay of Bengal." Subhash's questions were not over yet. He then asked his friends, "After reaching the Bay of Bengal, which ocean does it become a part of?" A friend replied, "It flows into the Indian Ocean." Subhash told his friends, "Think about how amazing it is. If we Indians have established our rule over a vast ocean like the Indian Ocean, then freeing our country from the British and having a self-rule in our own country should be a piece of cake." The entire group got extremely motivated by this last aspirational comment made by Subhash. Certainly, it is not difficult at all for a person like Subhash, who with his sharp intellect and strong determination decides to do something. Forming a group of these little revolutionaries in his school was just the beginning of the march towards attaining freedom for India. We all know how, in adverse circumstances, Subhash went on to establish the Indian Legion in Berlin, that was the first Indian army formed against the British, and thereafter took the reins of Indian National Army from the hands of Rashbihari Bose and raised the Indian tricolour in Mizoram and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, pushing back the British forces from Singapore. I think that's it for today. We will continue this wonderful story of Netaji and the events related to him in the next episode. Until then, stay tuned with us. That is me, RJ Mini, and the writer of this story, Manoj Swami, on your very own Ace FM.